So the respiratory system could be called the breathing system. The respiratory system absorbs oxygen into your blood. The circulatory system then pumps the oxygen to all your cells. These cells release carbon dioxide as a waste product. This is returned to your lungs in your blood and breathed out. The key parts of the respiratory system are the trachea, the bronchi and bronchioles, the alveoli, the ribs, the diaphragm. And now we're going to look at these in more detail. So first of all, this is what your lungs look like inside. So as you can see, you've got the trachea, which is a tube going down with rings of cartilage. You've got the bronchus, and around you've got the ribs, and then the bronchus branch off into bronchioles, and you've got the diaphragm at the bottom. And in between your ribs you've got intercostal muscles. So the trachea is a long tube that runs from the back of your mouth to just above your lungs. It has a rigid structure and stays open day and night to allow you to breathe. If you run your fingers up and down the front of the lower part of your neck, you might be able to feel your trachea. So if you run your fingers up and down, you'll be able to feel ridges and rings. These are made of cartilage, which are the same substance that make your nose and ears. It is these rings of cartilage that help your trachea keep rigid and open at all times. The lining of the trachea is covered with cells with tiny hairs. These are called ciliated cells, and the hairs are called cilia. These beat rhythmically motion like a Mexican wave. They move any mucus and dust or pathogens upwards to stop them entering your lungs. The bronchi and the bronchioles. Just above your lungs, your trachea splits into two bronchi. One travels to each lung. As each bronchus enters a lung, it splits into thousands of smaller branches called bronchioles. These branch again and again throughout your lungs, and there's a diagram of the bronchi and bronchioles and how they branch out from your trachea. The alveoli are found at the end of the bronchioles. These are sometimes called air sacs. They resemble a bunch of blown up balloons. The transfer of gases to and from the blood happens in the alveoli. They have a huge surface area to maximise the movement of these gases. And each lung has millions of tiny alveoli or air sacs. Alveoli are surrounded by a rich blood supply. Millions of tiny capillaries carry blood through the lungs, picking up oxygen and depositing carbon dioxide. The lining of the alveoli is very thin and moist. This means that gases can move faster through the membranes of the alveoli into and out of the blood. When you breathe in, air containing lots of oxygen moves into your lungs. Here the oxygen is at a high concentration in your alveoli and in a low concentration in your blood. So it moves by diffusion from inside your alveoli into your blood. Your ribs are bones that form a cage around your vital organs in your chest. Between your ribs are intercostal muscles. These muscles contract and relax when you breathe in and out. Then there's some questions to answer. The questions are: what does the respiratory system do? What two parts of your body does the trachea connect? What muscles are found between your ribs? What adaptation keeps your trachea open? And how are ciliated cells adapted? So have a go at answering those now. We'll have a look at the diaphragm. Your diaphragm is a sheet of muscle that sits below your lungs. Your diaphragm contracts and relaxes when you breathe. Have a go at answering these questions about the alveoli. What gas enters your blood in the alveoli? What gas leaves your blood in the alveoli? By what process do gases enter and leave the blood? And how are your alveoli adapted to maximise movement of gases? This session we're going to look at the process of breathing. The scientific name for breathing is ventilation. Simply put, this process replaces the air in your lungs. At rest, most people breathe about 12 to 20 times a minute. During exercise, the rate of breathing can easily double. Also, the depth of each breath increases. At rest, adults will breathe in about half a litre of air. During exercise, this can almost double, so your breathing rate depends upon the amount of oxygen your body needs. When you need more, your breathing rate and depth increases. These changes are involuntary. You don't choose to breathe more or less frequently, it is automatic. The lung volume of an adult and lung volume of a male and female is about 4 to 6 litres respectively. So just to recap, when you breathe in, your diaphragm moves down and your lungs inflate, and when you breathe out, your diaphragm moves up and your lungs deflate. So inhale, exhale. So Following on from our demonstration, we'll have a look at inhalation. The scientific name for breathing is ventilation. The process of breathing is called inhalation. When you inhale, the following steps occur. Your intercostal muscles contract, which moves your ribs up and down. Your diaphragm contracts, which moves it downwards. These two steps make the volume of your chest cavity bigger, and air rushes in from the outside to fill in the extra space. And as you can see from the diagram and the video of the bell jar, this is what happens when you inhale. When you exhale, breathing out is called exhalation. The steps are the reverse of inhalation. Your intercostal muscles relax, and so move your ribs downwards. Your diaphragm relaxes, which moves it upwards into a curved position. These two steps make the volume of your chest cavity smaller. Air is expelled from your lungs. Now have a go at answering the last 5 questions on breathing and exhalation and inhalation and your diaphragm. Okay.